Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
This is to advise those present at this meeting of the Board of Education of the Pinelands Regional School District in the County of Ocean that adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. The notice has been posted in the Board of Education office, junior high and high school buildings. The notice has also been mailed to the Press of Atlantic City, Asbury Park Press, and filed with municipal clerks of Bass River, Eagleswood, Middle Lake Harbor Township, and the Borough of Tuckerton. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett. Miss Betty.
Here.
Mr. Bonnicky is absent. Mr. Dalio.
Here.
Miss Fagan is absent. Miss Hannadel.
Here.
Miss Martin.
Here.
Miss McVeigh.
Here.
And Miss Zimmerman. Here. Mr. Taylor.
Because our BA is not here today, who also serves as our board secretary, we're going to ask that Assistant Superintendent Gina Frasca serve as board secretary pro temp for this evening, if that's okay by you, to take minutes for today.
Of course.
All right, thank you.
All righty. Moving on to item number 5, approval of minutes. I need a motion to approve minutes from the open session December 19th, reorg on January 3rd, and closed session executive session December 19th.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? Seeing none.
Any abstentions?
Dr. McCooley, I was absent from the December.
So you
19th
are,
meeting.
okay, Miss Martin. Anyone else? All right, motion carries. It says voice vote.
Oh, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And an abstention?
By Miss Martin.
There we
Got
go.
it. Motion carries.
All right, moving on to item number 6, that I feel like Dr. McCauley will be more comfortable with, the report of the superintendent.
All right, I am going to turn it over to Miss Benson while I set up my presentation. So take it away.
Good evening. 2023 is off to a very busy year over at the high school. The SAD and art clubs made snowflakes with inspirational messages and have been hanging them around the school. JAG held their annual coat drive. The coats will be donated to the local homeless shelter. Our jazz band performed at the Ventnor Jazz Festival this month. The FBLA club started their stock market competition. They're also discussing different types of speakers to bring in to meet our students. Our advanced sports marketing class organized a Lighting Up the Dome event for our varsity wrestling team. The National Honor Society is preparing for their next fundraiser. They're also reviewing applications for incoming inductees and planning the induction ceremony. Lastly, the Thespian Society participated in the annual stand competition. We took home a total of 9 awards, including 3 Governor Awards by Frank Gordon, Julia Morin, and Sabrina Moore. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, as promised to the Board of Education, I'm going to give our mid-year goal and data update. If you cannot see this screen, feel free to stretch and get something to eat while I present. All right, just a reminder, goal number 1 dealt with connection, promoting the academic excellence and social emotional well-being by increasing student and community connection to the school district. Communication, extracurricular involvement, attendance, and mental health services will be emphasized. So, with the assistance of the administrative team, we put together some of the items that are relevant to connection and our goal. So we have the goal at the top, and then you can see all of the communication logs that we have here. So at the high school, we had over 5,000 contacts on there. At the junior high, over 1,100. Our student service newsletter is hyperlinked. We have our parental outreach program, SBYS, and their calendar of events that they have been hosting. You've seen each month the Here to Help videos. We also have the document on our website that has all of the links to our Here to Help resources, all of the array of mental health services. We have our crisis resources, our wellness toolbox, our student services logs, SBYS services, of course, Mr. Hand and all of the referrals that he's helped us with. And then we have our transition counselor that goes from 6th to 7th grade and also helping out in other areas. And then you can see all of the extracurricular activities that we're logging in. And then lastly, at the bottom, we have our clubs that are offered in both schools. So as I said, this is a hyperlinked document on the presentation, which was sent out to the Board of Education earlier this evening. So you can peruse through it on your own. And I will also put this on the website after tonight. Next is our strategic plan. That was our second goal. We have worked on this over the course of 3 to 4 months. We had over 60 attendees at each of the meetings, so it was really a great turnout. Now we're in the process, after those goals and indicators were formed, of sitting down in teams and actually creating the objectives and the indicators of how we're going to accomplish those goals. So the administrative team has paired up into different groups. We've also taken some teachers in on that role, and we are going to be creating all of the ways that we're going to be accomplishing our strategic plan. Once it's finished, it'll get sent back to Marianne Friedman of School Boards, and then she will actually come down and present that to the Board of Education. Next, I'm going to go into some other data. These are some discipline survey results. So if you look on this, the left side, so the one underneath, that would be strongly disagree. All the way to the right would be strongly agree on a scale. The left column are the September results, and the right column are the January results. And I do apologize, the font's a little small on here, but basically I gave the same survey out to the staff in September that I gave recently. So you can see, for example, the first one says on the top left, I believe the code of conduct is followed. And it was mostly okay. We had a lot of 4s and 5s, strong on the 3, but we did improve. If you look over to the right, more of the staff thinks that we are all following the code of conduct. The question at the bottom was, I believe the code of conduct is not tough enough. So a lot of them did agree with that. If you look the 3, 4s, and 5, which is the right-hand side of that bottom graph, and then look to the right, and we've actually gotten better on that one as well. So hopefully by the end of the year, the staff agrees that we are following the code of conduct and it is tough enough that we are seeing results. Up at the top, you can see in September, that was the question that was asked. If a student is written up, the administration follows the code of conduct. And then if a student is written up, I believe the administration follows the code of conduct. Similar, but we have less in the 1 and 2, which is good. So some areas of concern that came out of this survey, the 2 things that were glaring in terms of the feedback of the staff, areas of concern that they're seeing on a daily basis in classrooms, in the hallways, and overall in the buildings: cell phones and disrespect. So disrespect towards certain adults, in the hallways towards each other, with the students, and then overall, overwhelmingly, was this use of cell phones. So after that came out, I did do a follow-up survey in terms of cell phone use, and these are the results. So I did email the same survey to parents and the staff. So the top question on the left-hand side was in regards to cell phones, and if we felt that cell phones should be locked away in either a locker all day or kept in a book bag and not in use at all. So basically, we don't see the cell phone at all. It's turned off. So when parents were asked if this was a good idea, 53% said no, 36% said yes, and then the remaining percentage were unsure. At the bottom, this was the question asked of parents if they believe cell phones should only be used in between class periods. And in parentheses, I put the truth, where most of the infractions are occurring. So TikTok videos and things of that nature are typically occurring in between classrooms, in between class periods, excuse me. So 41% of parents said no, and 45% said yes. And then the others were unsure. And then the last column was, I believe it should be up to the teacher if a cell phone is permitted, and 61% of the parents said yes. Now, if you look to the staff results, the teacher results, they are a little different. So same questions were asked. First question was, cell phones should be turned off and locked away all day. And 80% of the teachers said yes. At the bottom, Cell phones should only be used in between class periods where most of the infractions are occurring. 61 of the teachers said yes. And then lastly, I believe it should go to the teacher to see if the cell phone is permitted, and only 52% said yes. 52% said no. 35% said yes. So they don't really want the responsibility on themselves to monitor whether that cell phone should be permitted or not. They feel strongly that they should be off and in their book bags all day and only used before and after school. And of course, in case of an emergency where the student could use it in the main office. So the next steps for me are going to be to survey the students, to see what their feedback is, and then to form a committee of students, teachers, and parents to see what the best result is for this type of use in the school. So we're going to get feedback from all of our stakeholders and then present that to the Board of Education. Other data. These are the aggregate of grades for the junior high. The one on the left was last school year. The one on the right is this school year. So the blue box at the bottom are the percentage of students receiving an A. So we had 52% last year, and at the same time this year, we have 57%. If you move up on that, there was 36% last year and 27% of Bs and so forth. For the high school, last year at this time, 52% of students had A's, and this year we have 57%. And then you can move up on that to see B's, C's, and so forth. This is the forms that we use to show growth. Yep, Kim?
So can you go back to that one? Yeah, so why, it's great that any theories on why that everything is pretty much up except, but also the D's are up.
The D's are up from the previous year.
Still? Oh, yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Well, the SALT committee is revisiting that because the policy changed completely this year. So this is where they can't fail the first two marking periods either. So they've been looking at all that data. So that's a great question. So this is to show our growth and progress. This is, you can see at the bottom, junior high math, ELA, high school math, ELA. It's broken down total by math and ELA, and then the total average. So going from Form A to B, we are growing in all of those areas, most significantly in the junior high math, which is good because that was one of our areas of focus.
Sorry,
Yes, Miss Betty.
A to B.
Form A is the first one they take, and then they take Form B on Link It.
Oh, is this?
This is
okay.
Link It.
This
It's the
is
same
Link It data.
standards, but it
Thank
just shows the growth from one period to the next. I'm
Understood. I
sorry, I
just didn't
explained
follow
that
it.
correctly. This is just some data on Smart Pass, which is our pass to travel through the hallways when leaving a class. And for the amount of students that were utilizing it, you could see week one, and in the high school, it is dropping significantly. So we don't have students using the pass as much, which means they're in the classroom learning. And then in the high school, it was pretty steady. And then for whatever in week 13 or 14, it went up a little bit more. There could have just been some things going on in the building at that time. This is our discipline data for each school. You can see the discipline comparison of 2021 to 2022 with the blue and red bar graph. So it's definitely down. And one of the things they're attributing to that in the junior high, if you look to your right, those are all the positive write-ups. So anything in green is a positive write-up in comparison to a discipline write-up. And then some high school data. They did not include their positive write-ups here, but you can see the comparison in the blue and the red of negative write-ups, and we are dropping in that area also. I'm going to go through this and just kind of briefly go through some of the topics. And then, as I said, I did send this out, and I will also go over, I will put this on the website for the community and the parents to see. But I sent a parent survey out to get feedback from our parents in terms of how we are doing. Same scale, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. So this dealt with, on the top left, our district treats students with respect. So 5 is good, so we're doing well there. Bottom left, it's a safe place, doing well there. At the top right, our district provides mental health support. So we're getting good feedback there. Parents are informed about things happening in the district. So that was a good one as well. The top one is I've reached out to the superintendent and the method they want to communicate with me. And a lot of them said not needed, which is a good thing. The bottom left about teachers being accessible. They all feel that they are. Top right, I obtain a majority of my information about the district via. This one's helpful for me because I want to see the most effective way to communicate with our families. So they overwhelmingly like the emails, which I send my vid yards out in an email every Friday. So they get to see that, which are very quick and any relevant information I can go over with them briefly. The administration is readily accessible. They feel that the administration is accessible. The top one is about quality programs in terms of gifted and talented or special needs, and that was a positive outcome. The bottom left, remedial supports, little tapered off there, but definitely anything 3 or above is positive. Top right, teacher-parent interactions have increased. This one is going to be a little skewed because if they always had good parent interactions, they're not going to say it increased. So some may have felt it increased, but if they always had a positive experience in that regard, it's not going to increase. It's going to stay the same. The bottom right, our district provides a warm environment for students to learn. Once again, very positive. Top left, our district keeps me well informed of my child's progress. And that one is very positive. Bottom left is about our facilities being well maintained. Top right, are the facilities clean? Bottom right, our district provides opportunities for parents to volunteer. And then as we conclude, the top left is about curriculum being aligned with the New Jersey standards. The bottom left is about our district providing curriculum that is rigorous and differentiated. And then the 2 pie charts, I'm well aware of the district's grading policy, and you can see that was over 80%. 90%, I'm sorry. And then the bottom right, I am aware that the New Jersey Department of Education in terms of CUSEC has deemed our school district highly performing. Interesting question and answer. So 52% said they were aware, where 47% were not aware of that. Hopefully they are now. And then our last slide, our wonderful facility. Oh, do you want me to go back, Kim?
Yeah, can we go back to the one about the teachers? So 2 slides. Is there a better way to ask that question next time, do you think? So
Which,
the next slide.
yeah.
About them,
Top
right.
Their parent.
interactions have increased from years prior.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could simply just ask them the method they want to communicate. How do they communicate with the teachers? And we can find
Or
that
how
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There may
Or
have been
is
more
it-
communication during COVID because things were.
right. But communication could be even something as simple as their website or, an email sent or on course.
So what do
So-
you really want to ask for that, though? I mean, are you really trying to find out how well their interactions are, or are you trying to find out how happy they are?
Just interactions. I want the communication back and forth. So I could just simply say, do you think it's, you're getting enough communication from the teachers?
There you go.
Sure. Athletics, Will has been working, tirelessly with Amanda Miller, RBA, with some additional monies we were very happy to get this year. And he's making significant improvements to both the high school and the junior high. I know you're going to be approving some contracts this evening with fencing and backstops and some safety issues that we're going to be addressing. So you can see here all of the wonderful things he's doing and has planned. Be patient. We know that a lot of things are still on back order, but he's moving ahead very quickly. And then as he said at the bottom, there's definitely more to come. So he has the short-term plan for this year, and then he does have a long-term plan. I think that included turf and a whole new snack stand. So looking to the future on that. Are there any other questions about any part of the presentation that you need me to go back to?
What is the 18-hole DIS?
It's that disc frisbee that you
Oh,
throw them into the.
It's getting hot. There's like courts around.
Yes, a lot of that Stockton has one, and yeah,
Yes.
I've taken my son to play a few. It's fun.
Get me pickleball next.
They
Oh,
come,
no.
they rent our gyms out for that at Little Egg. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and I'll have an end of the year summary.
All right, moving on to item number 7, the School Board Recognition Month. A resolution recognizing school board members. If you noticed, all our school board members have their little
Yes, flat.
recognition here on behalf of my fellow board members. We appreciate being appreciated.
And you are greatly appreciated.
Moving on to the work session, board forum. Does anyone have anything they'd like to bring up? Discuss here during the board forum? If not, we'll move on to new business policy 0152, board officers.
Okay, so you,
Go ahead.
yes, you do have the policy hyperlink that you can review it. I'm going to review what your options are at this point, and then you can have a discussion about it. So there's going to be two different things you're going to have to decide. The first, a little bit of a change is when you are electing officers at reorg. So you're electing the president and vice president. You have two options. One is a written paper ballot where we could have everyone's name on a ballot and you could submit that and we could do it in a paper form. The second option is how we've been doing it, and we do it verbally. So your option is by paper or verbally.
And by paper, you still put your name on it and you're still reading out the vote plus the person's name.
Yes, each board member must print and sign their name on the paper ballot. Yes, Shannon, thank you for
Either
that.
way you're going
You're
to.
right. It's not like a secret.
Right.
So
That
we
was my
have to
point.
declare it now, in the policy, we can't have it as, leave it as an option?
No, you'd have to pick one of the options. So paper would be that, or the second option is keep it the way we've been doing it, where someone verbally nominates someone and we go through it that way. And then
Was this a new one? Was this a new thing?
is this,
Yeah.
yes,
The second, so where did this stem from? As far as
Strauss estimate.
Strauss did?
Yep, Strauss sent this as a policy alert, so it must have come through code.
Something had come through. Okay.
Sure.
Can we just keep it as voice?
Yeah, well, that's what you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So it's, that's option 1 or 2. And then the second piece of this, option 1 or 2, is when you're electing the officers, do you want it to be with a majority vote of all of the board members present or a majority vote of the members of the board?
Everybody, whether present or not.
Okay.
I'm asking.
Yes, that's the
Thank you.
option. So let's just say at reorg, we only have 7 people instead of 9. So it would be the majority of who was there. Or do you want it to be a majority of 9 people? So they'd have to get 5 votes. So that's your second option.
And I
But
didn't
what if they're not
understand
there?
the yellow, the highlighting, what was that for?
So those are the options that you're picking from.
The yellow is one option and the clear is another? I'm sorry,
Usually it's the new.
No,
stuff
no,
is
the
yellow.
clear part is what's going to currently exist anyway. So that's the old one.
the yellow stuff is new.
Yes,
Yeah,
the yellow
and if
stuff
we
is,
Voted,
Crossed out.
yes, then we
Yes.
accept the yellow stuff.
yes, you're choosing which yellow section you want for option 1 and 2.
I see it now. Thank
Yes,
you.
you got it.
So the difference between 1 and 2 is they both have to be quorum, but if there's 7 members out of the 9, we can vote here versus waiting for all board members to be present.
Correct. So
We do it the first way today. As long as we have quorum here.
You would,
You
you would
vote.
still need a quorum of
Right.
board vote yes to carry the day.
That's what she
Right.
said.
That's
So
the
for
thing.
this
Do that.
evening,
Yeah.
on many of the items on the agenda, we have 2 people missing, so there's 7 board members.
Yes.
So
As
you-
long as the majority here votes. then we're
Yes,
good.
right, for
But
most of the
don't we-
items.
Don't we have to do that vote by a certain date, so that if we vote
Yeah,
on the second one, then it could mean that we have to come back another time.
It could lead to a greater
Remember?
potential for plurality votes, you know, we've seen that in other districts, so that's one thing we might want to keep in mind, not trying to say one way is better than the other, but there is. How is it set right now?
It's a majority of the people
Majority
here
Here.
present,
No, I believe.
because we
it's-
had 4 that one time, remember?
Yeah. But it didn't get passed.
Because we needed 5,
Because it was only 4, you needed 5.
right?
We've always done it where it is a majority of the board members.
Yeah.
So you would
Every
always
board.
need,
You're not-
you
Yeah.
would always need 5.
But the other 2 never have to vote. Is that correct? People that are absent don't vote. The quorum would be.
Correct. If
Yeah.
they weren't there, we would
Yeah,
need
we would
5.
Have our vote that day.
Yes,
Either way.
right. So if you had 7 members at reorg and you got 5 votes for someone to be president, it's over.
Done, because
That's
that's 5
it.
out of 9.
Right,
Mhm.
yes,
Instead of the 7. I just want to be clear.
yes.
And we've always done it by voice vote.
Right.
So that's the way we've always done it. Just. to
Wait, that just
clarify.
totally confused me. I mean, what difference does it make then? If they're here or not here?
The
it
number of
has to
votes
make
we
a
need to
difference.
pass.
The
whether
number,
we
it's
need
just the
7 out of
number.
7, or if we need out of 9.
What it would matter is if there was only 7 people here
Yeah, in
and
favor.
5 people couldn't agree, out of the 7, you wouldn't have somebody elected.
You have to have 5 votes.
If
Well, no,
7
no,
people
if
were
you-
here, you would
you
only
get
need
that-
4 votes.
Okay.
So if 7 people were here for reorg and you chose that option of the majority
That's
present,
present.
you would only need 4 votes
But
to
if we
pass.
chose the majority.
Of the board, you need 5.
Even if there's only
There's a
7 here.
supermajority
Yes.
and just a majority.
Super majority?
Yeah.
You're good.
All right, let's go with option 1 first. Did I hear that we want to keep verbal roll call for the
Yes.
vote?
Yes.
Are we voting on that now?
You're
Yes.
you're discussing it now because we're gonna have to pick the options and you're gonna vote on that policy tonight.
So you can say your opinion. Yes. Yes.
Does anyone not want that? A verbal? And you want to do a paper ballot?
You have to
No,
put your
just
name on it
verbal.
anyway. What difference does it make?
That was my point.
It's wacky.
Well, the
So-
rest of the board wouldn't hear it, would they?
Yes. They would read
Yes,
it out
you
loud
have
with
to
your
read it
vote
out
and your
loud.
name.
There's no point, okay?
Okay, so we're gonna stick with verbal on that one. All right. And for the second piece, do we want to have it a majority of the board members present at reorg or the majority of the board?
Majority
Present.
board.
Then you
But
need more
what-
votes.
I'm curious.
Because
Because
if,
that carries the day for most things that we vote on. So if an agenda item come up and like many things, you want to have at least 5, but that's the majority. of the
Wait,
board.
aren't we only talking about reorg here? Are we talking
Just-
every single vote?
No, just this,
Just this?
just
Right.
officers, just officers, yes.
Right.
That's why she all
Five
go
people
together.
can't agree, they probably shouldn't. I mean,
and I agree with that. I think, and perhaps reorg is scheduled and someone just can't be there.
May have.
But we should
you
still,
should still have 5 that agree.
exactly.
All right, so we're
I-
picking option 2.
I agree, but somebody else might
No,
have
no,
a
just
different.
wanted-
Everybody okay with that?
Okay.
Okay. All right, easy enough. So we were going with option 2 and 2.
The way we've always done it.
Yes. We're staying the same.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
You like that?
All righty, old business. Anyone have anything to bring up to discuss? If not, we'll move on to item number 10. Instructional, you need a motion
How
to,
about 9?
I am sorry. Residents forum for agenda items only. Board policy 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect a reasonable time limit when commenting on agenda items. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to discuss agenda items only? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 10, instructional. Recommended motion to approve instructional items A through H. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second,
Any questions?
Policy number 3. I didn't really see what was different in that. Gonna be able to-
Notice of board meetings?
Yeah,
Okay, hold on.
I mean, it seems like you still have to do it within 48 hours. I'm not really seeing what they're changing.
They changed the title of it to instead of adequate notice, instead of public
I
notice,
saw
it's
that.
adequate notice.
Okay.
And they removed,
Semantic.
yes, it's just some language change.
Okay.
Any other questions? It's my cheat. Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
yes.
Miss Fagan is absent, Miss Hannadel,
Yes.
Miss Martin.
Yeah.
Miss McVeigh,
Yes.
Miss Zimmerman,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, moving on to item number 11, personnel. We need a motion to approve personnel items A through M. Have a motion, please.
Motion,
Second.
Any questions? Any questions?
I think Kim's protesting. one of
I'm
them.
protesting silent, almost silently. but That's all.
All right.
righty. Roll
Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
yes.
Miss Hannadel,
Yes.
Miss Martin,
Yes.
Miss McVeigh,
Yes.
Miss Zimmerman,
Yes.
motion carries.
All righty, moving on to item number 12, operations. We need a motion to approve items A through E.
Motion.
We need a second.
Second.
Any questions?
Is a question that?
Miss Betty, that went through, Betty.
That's okay.
Sorry, I got confused.
Yeah.
We got Miss Betty Ann.
Oh, yeah,
Miss Betty.
Miss Betty.
That was through E, correct?
was that through I?
See what I've got here. Yes, A through E.
E, okay.
Thank you. Okay, any questions? Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Miss Hannah,
Yes.
Miss Martin,
Yes.
Miss McVeigh,
Yes.
Miss Zimmerman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, moving on to item 13, report of the board secretary, business administrator. We need
Change.
okay. Okay. So did we not, see, my cheat sheet only
Goes,
has
yeah,
E.
I think yours goes all the way to I. Because then the next one
Yes.
goes up to
Mhm.
informational items.
What is it supposed to go to? Augie? Mine goes to I as well.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
I.
I. I guess hers cut off.
Okay, all right.
at
So
E.
we need to then vote on
A through I.
A, yes, or just F through I, right?
Yeah, just add the F to I.
E. So we need to go back then on the personnel and approve items F through
There'd be I.
I.
Falls under
Oh, check.
donations.
Wait a minute.
No, we already
So
did
confused.
those.
No,
We
you're
did
fine.
those. So yeah, now we just
Sure?
do, yes,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
do
Because it
13.
went to E, so what F is
We're
after
doing-
that? I got F to I, that falls underneath.
On personnel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
person.
we
yeah.
did that correctly. The
Yeah.
last one we did was operations.
Yes.
Now we're at 13, report of the board
Operations
secretary.
was just A through E.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, that's my bad, my bad.
That's okay.
Just don't let it happen again.
I'll definitely try not to.
Checks and balances. Fine. All right, so now we're still on item 13.
Yes.
Report of the board secretary, and do we have a motion in a second to approve items A through I?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions?
Okay, let me get my roll call. Mr. Bartlett,
Yes.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Miss Fagan is absent, Miss Hannah,
Yes.
Miss Martin,
Yes.
Miss McVeigh,
Yes.
Miss Zimmerman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, moving on to
There it is.
informational items. Do we have any at this time? None at this time. We'll move on to residence forum for general topics. Board policy 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect the reasonable time limit when commenting on any topic. Anyone from the audience like to address the board?
Good evening. I don't know if this thing's on. Can you hear me?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I can use my teacher voice.
There you go.
That's fine.
Hey, Erin Lichtenwalner, employee here. I just wanted to take a second and just thank all of you on the board. I know. I didn't expect to be so emotional, so I'll keep it short and sweet, but it's just been a pleasure working here. And I just, for the past 3 years I've been here and for the 8 years that I was in Little Egg Harbor, Augie hired me, Mr. Molesky, Gina, you guys are on the board that hired me, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity. And last year, when it was very challenging for Marissa and I, you guys stepped up and supported us. So I was taught not to cry at work, so I don't know what these wet things are. But you guys are incredible, and the way that you support Dr. McCooley and the way that Dr. McCooley then can support us, to support our staff, to support our kids. You see it when you walk through the hallways and you look at the activities that are going on. Everything that you guys are doing here it's just incredible. And it starts here And I just hope you know how much it's valued and it doesn't go unnoticed. And Dr. McCooley, you just have been incredible. So I can't really say too much, but you guys already know how amazing she is, our leadership. And I just appreciate the support. And the only reason why I feel comfortable leaving right now is because of Marissa, that you guys are allowing her to come in and continue the work that she started with me. So I feel like you guys are in very good hands and I will be back to visit. You can't get rid of me that easily. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Rossetti, I'll get you a personal invite. You just have anything?
He likes you. That's a question.
Alrighty, with seeing no one else, we will go to board forum. Zimmerman,
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Bartlett,
Good to see you all. See you next month.
Ms. Betty.
Ditto, there's not much to say. It's a good day. School's doing good. Thank you.
Ms. Martin.
Yes, I was absent from the December meeting, so I wasn't able to congratulate the academic competition team on their, the competition that they were in early December. And as a board member, but honestly, as a parent, what Mr. Goodwin and Sonora Trinelli does for this small group is nothing short of just absolutely amazing. Their commitment and dedication and support of these kids, I mean, they're just awesome. And I truly believe that Pinelands is very fortunate to have them.
Ms. Dalio.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Really have not much to say, just to say that, Aaron, thank you very much for your 3 years of service here. I never thought I'd see a day that you had a tear. You do cry. Is that what it was? Okay, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Really, thank you. That's all I had.
All right. Ms. Hannadel.
Ms. Betty, whatever.
I did go, I wanted to ask if I could say one more thing after
Sure.
she's done.
Sure, you can
Thank-
say it now.
I wanted to remind everyone that the spring play will be Matilda in early March. It's gonna be fabulous, so please spread the word.
Oh, that's
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks. I wanted to say, welcome to all the new hires, but also, and thank you, Marissa, we're very excited about it. I also want to say goodbye to a lot of the, Mrs. Pomeroy, Mrs. Sanford, James Bond is a big, I mean, I think all of them, Tozer is a local. I just think we're losing some good ones as well. And I just want to say about Erin specifically, I feel like this is one of the reasons I'm going to get emotional. So is that I got on the board is that I feel like the school is amazing and they do an amazing job, and the teachers and the staff does an amazing job. And I think that sometimes we can get off on parents and or staff even can get off on a tangent, and that can take a bigger life than it should. And I think that the 18 to 21, when I came here, we didn't even have the program. We certainly didn't have a space for it. We certainly always had a need for it, just like school-based. We always will have a need for this stuff. And we cannot let, or we at least have to try to make people understand that we cannot let our own agenda run the board and run the school, because it's not the right thing to do. It's just not right. And I think that running off very good people hurts us. In the long run, in the short run, I don't worry about Marissa, but I worry because I know what was here before and I know what we came from, and it was very difficult. It had been very difficult for a very long time, and it had gone it was allowed to happen, or whatever that word is that is not finding me. So we can't let bad things happen, and we can't let bad things happen to the people who are doing good things and make a change. And this community sometimes just does it. And I understand the parents and I understand where they're coming from, but we have to see bigger pictures. At least the board does, for ourselves, for our own kids, for the school. And that's all I want to say.
Do you mind if I say something?
Sure.
Want to go first? So I would just like to say that Erin and I started together in Little Egg 8 years ago, and it is just truly phenomenal the changes that you've made in both districts. You have been an advocate for our students. You've been an advocate for the staff, which is something that I think a lot of the staff didn't feel for a long time. And we can't discount the fact that the parents and the population that you are dealing with can be challenging because they're advocating for their kids. And it's not an easy road. It's very easy to deal with a gifted and talented group because they're all happy that their kids are flourishing, where you have to really find what's best for every student. You have to advocate for them. You have to bring in outside sources. And I don't know if everyone even knows all of the added district placements you've brought back, and you've made the best educational experience for all of the students in special education and completely changed the culture in both districts. And you are going to be truly missed. And we've had this conversation. I don't want you to go, but I understand why you're going. And I will always support you, whether you're here, whether you're somewhere else, or whether it's 10 years down the road. You always will have my support.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Actually, I have mascara in my eye. I'm not crying. I would like to thank everyone who's in the audience for being here tonight. Sometimes it's nice to see a small crowd and happy smiling faces. And I wish you the best of luck. Every interaction I've had with you has been professional, fun, and respectful. And I always enjoyed the conversation with you. And I know that your professional abilities, not only with the students, but with making sure that Pinelands got as much state funding back as possible. Sitting on the budget committee for all these years, there was always that growth there that you were responsible for. You were like a bulldog, making sure we got everything that we deserved and maybe a little bit more. And you're going to be missed. And I wish you the absolute best of luck in everything that you do. And as far as your feeling of being supported by the board and by Melissa, that's the way it should be. It should be that way for everybody who works here. They should feel like we're all part of the team. And not to have a sports analogy, but that's the way it should be. We can disagree about things. We can try to come to a consensus, but we should always support each other and be professional and respectful to one another. There's always kids watching, and they know what a good example is and what isn't a good example. So I'm very appreciative of my fellow board members who act in a very professional, courteous, respectful manner. And I can speak on behalf of the board members that we do have the very best of the best here at Pinelands. So thank you. Good night. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.